Hello and welcome back to what is going to be the final of the 3 Gaogaigar build streams. Today we are going to be finally completing this kit that I started building half a year ago. We're going to be building Stealth Gao and Drill Gao today. Going to be a great time. So welcome everyone to Channel 2S. Hello Yemeni, Big Boy, Alex, welcome to the stream. Welcome Riku, welcome Fiz. Glad to see you guys here. Yes, Riku, we're building feet today. Let me just get these off the table so they're not in the way. So I said last time or the stream before that I was going to be building the Undead Dress Isis after we finish this kit. And I'm not 100% sure I'm going to be doing that anymore because I was looking at the kit and it's a great kit, but it needs... Let me just turn the brightness up here. This way. There we go. It's a great kit, but it needs a lot of paint work, and I don't necessarily mind doing that on stream, but I don't have 100% of the supplies that I need to do that right now, so I think I'll have to put that off for a little bit. So we'll probably be building or playing something else next time we do one of these. So last time we finished Mr. Gaogaigar here, and he is looking very nice. I have some concerns about how this kit's going to feel overall. I think it has a bit of that RG Unicorn kind of feel to it, where everything is a little bit tighter than it maybe should be given the structural materials of the kit. Also, in retrospect, there's really not a whole lot that's very real grade about this kit. It kind of just feels like a really big detailed high grade. Like, sure, you're getting real grade level detail, but there's no inner frame, not a lot of mechanical stuff. It's kind of just a really complicated high grade that they sold as a real grade. Although, granted, not to the same extreme as something like Goldie Mark. So, we're going to set Gaogaigar here off to the side and just get everything ready so we can start building. So now, this time I'm thinking I am just going to bring out all the runners, since whatever we haven't used up to this point we are going to end up using. So I might as well just get them all out here from the get-go. So there's the B runners. Oh god, I just realized we're gonna have to build those tank treads. That is a... Oh, that's not a completely empty runner. Never mind, the face is there. I'm glad I didn't throw that away. That would have been a mistake. But I just remembered that we're going to be building the treads for the Drill Gao today, and even though they had the perfect opportunity to give us a really cool pre-molded tread runner that could maybe be reused for something like the gun tank, they instead decided to make us build the treads manually. So that's not the greatest. I kind of wish they didn't do that. I would have liked to have seen some nice real grade treads, but that seems to be the direction that they took with this. So I don't believe I need these here because all this has in is this wire, and I can get that out later. Oh yes! Almost forgot about this guy. We got Liner Gao here. Built that yesterday as well. I'm gonna set that next to Gaogaigar. And keep this in here with the other parts. And then I'm just gonna get the rest of these runners out and we can sort them out later. I'm going to leave that in the box because I know that's just weapon pieces. And we are going to get to the weapons later. My plan for this stream is we're going to do Stealth Gao, we're going to do Drill Gao, and then we'll do all the weapons and combinations. There we go. Just like that. It's a movie with a good plot but bad execution. I mean, honestly, I kind of want to say Gundam Seed. Because whenever I look up any of the lore and, like, just background information about Gundam Seed, it seems like a really, really interesting universe. It's just the way they told the story and the characters they choose to tell that story that really bring it down. Okay, so I'm going to make sure there's nothing else I need to set up on the stream before I put my mouse out of commission. And I think the music might be a little loud, so I think I'll turn it down just a touch. And I think that's it. Okay. Mouse is going off to the side so I can get more runners in here. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I am going to grab my phone and I am going to pull up YouTube Studio on that in case I need to do anything that I can't do with the computer. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to pull up my own stream. I just realized I still had my mic muted. So yeah, I was just talking about where I'm going to put the parts. I'm going to have to lean stuff up against the monitor to fit everything here, and I have just barely enough room to get everything in. So looks like we're starting with Drill Gao. Niagara Falls Comic Con. Cool. It's been a while since I've gone to a comic convention. They used to have one relatively local to me, but they haven't. They kind of came back post-COVID, but it was a lot smaller than it used to be, and that didn't really look as good. So, we are starting right off the bat by ripping off the Band-Aid and building these treads. All right, cool. Starting off strong. Believe it or not, iPhone. Oh, I found the first issue of Bionicle. Oh, like that was like a Lego magazine comic, right? I seem to remember that's how they released a lot of the lore for the old Bionicle series. I need that piece, and then its equivalent from the other runner. All right, let's see how bad these treads really are. So, step one, cut out the cogs. It looks like the treads are actually going to be able to move and rotate, which is cool, but it would be cooler if they were B-runner. So there's 2 cogs and then 2 more. How are the Gundam Wing comic books defined? I didn't know there were Gundam Wing comic books. If you're talking about the manga, there's there's the Glory of Losers manga, which is, I believe, in active print right now, so it should be pretty easy to find basically anywhere. In terms of like Western-made comics, I don't think there were any Western tie-in comics to Gundam Wing. Sorry, it was actually DC Comics. Oh, for the Bionicle thing. I wasn't aware. I'm not sure if you're talking about Bionicle or Gundam Wing, but I don't believe DC had anything to do with either of those. Referring to like Western comic books. Yeah, I don't think there was a Western comics tie-in to Gundam Wing. They made a one-off comic for Gundam Universe, but there's no physical version of it. It was just an online like ebook type thing. I think they were going to make more of them, but they ended up just making the one that was kind of basically just an adaptation of the first episode of Gundam Wing, but using the Universe figure designs. You know what would make a better PG than the F-22? The B-2 Sprint. I don't really know a lot about planes, so I can't say I know what that looks like off the top of my head. I'm assuming it's a bomber based off the B designation, but that's about the extent of my knowledge. Alright, so that's got a nub on it. And so does that. There. Ultimately, I really don't need to denub these cogs. As long as the nub's not sticking up too much, it's not going to really do any harm. No one's going to be taking the treads apart and looking at the inside of the cogs for nubs. There. Unaware of any. I grew up in the 90s. Yeah. It's there was definitely a lot of tie-in stuff for Gundam Wing, a lot of merch and whatnot made for it, but I don't think there were any Western comic tie-ins. Okay, so you're supposed to build this section first and then wrap the treads around it. So I'm gonna... One of these free spins a lot easier than the other. Okay, now they're kind of broken in. That should be fine. Make sure the holes are aligned. There we go. Okay. And then the second one is going to go together in exactly the same way. The plastic they use for these almost feels like it has a slightly lubricated feel to it. It's not like super soft like polyethylene, but it has a little bit of slipperiness to it, so it kind of self-lubricates itself. Okay, now for the treads. Spirit, it's the flying wing. Oh, that one. Yeah. I've seen that. Yeah. Do you like Frank Miller's comic books? I actually just started reading Batman Year 1 and 2 recently. I thought Batman Year 1 was okay. It was a little monologue heavy for my taste, but I've been really enjoying Year 2. I want to read Dark Knight Returns at some point as well, seeing as those three are just really classic Batman stories. I used to not really be much of a comic book guy, but collecting the McFarlane figures has kind of gotten me interested in looking into the history of some of these stories. So I want to read stuff like, Hush and Nightfall and all these classic DC stories now. But yeah, so far I would say Frank Miller is pretty good. Is what true for the Alex 2.0? Also, welcome to the stream, Matter. I really hope these are all the same piece and I don't have to keep... Okay, yes, they're all labeled 1. Never mind. I was about to say that would be just evil if they made each piece of the tread slightly different, so you had to keep track of each one. But no, it's just a bunch of J1s. And once I denub these, I can just put them all in a pile and just mass produce some chain tread. One guy found a copy of Hot Stuff Little Devil #1 for $500. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that comic, but I know some of them can go for crazy money. And honestly, as far as like old comics go, $500 doesn't even sound that expensive. Not when there's first issues that go for hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. Oh, in regards to the plastic quality. Which comment that I made about the plastic quality? This is the problem with doing streams with a delay, is I have like a 45-second memory for things that I'm talking about. So I get these questions in chat and they're talking about things that I said a minute ago, and I genuinely have no idea what I said. Okay, I'm going to build these treads one at a time. So this is all the parts for one tread. So I'm just going to... Okay, there's no extra connecting pieces. It's just the individual treads. So I can just kind of fall into a groove here and just bang out a whole bunch of these. Oh, hey, J-Jack. Welcome to you in Malaysia. Yeah, I mean, I'm still around, J-Jack. I just do a lot more streams now. I've got a couple of videos that I want to get out soon, and also I try to cut down my streams into videos when I can. I really need to put out more like normal videos because I think a lot of people don't realize that I'm still making content because of the way that I format my streams and how I don't keep them up afterwards. I think a lot of people, if they're not online during the 2 to 3 hours that I'm streaming, I think they just don't realize that I'm actually making content. That's why I'm trying to schedule my streams a lot further in advance so people see the notification for the scheduled stream post and they know that there is actually new content coming. Oh yeah, I was talking about like how the plastic for the cogs in there self-lubricates. Yeah, I mean that's something you see with a lot of newer Gunpla kits in the last like 5 years or so. They've really been moving away from using other plastics like polyethylene and ABS, and they've been trying to just make slightly different mixes of styrene to get all the different traits. Next year, I created a strong Gunpla community in my city. Awesome, man. Glad to hear I was inspiration to you. Also, hey, Mr. Flames. Welcome to the chat. All right. So... So, I'm thinking for my next build, maybe I'll do that Master Grade Prototype Gundam that I've got sitting on the top of my backlog. It's a Gundam 2.0. It's a pretty solid mold. I've never actually built it before, but I've built a couple kits that definitely borrowed some pieces from it. And the Prototype Gundam has always been my favorite variant of the RX-78 in terms of just like the classic RX-78 looking Gundam, you know, your G3, your Casfall Gundam, your original Gundam. Out of that whole bunch, the Prototype's always been my favorite, so I was really hyped that they got a reprint of that in the US shop. I don't know though, maybe I'll have something else in between them. We'll see what I feel like building tomorrow. Maybe Curios. I could definitely do Curios. Oh, actually, I've got so many kits in my backlog that it's mostly just a matter of what do I feel like building tomorrow. But I'm thinking also maybe I would like to do the high-res model God Gundam soon. That would be especially interesting since MJH, which is totally not Dragon Momoko, they definitely didn't come back under a different name after getting in trouble with Bandai, but they're actually working on a model kit conversion of the high-res God Gundam right now, so now would be a semi-topical time to build that kit. Oh, thanks, J-Jack. Yeah, I've been using this for the last few streams. Oh, that didn't take as long as I thought. All right. Time to snap together some treads. So how do these go? Oh. Oh, I see. Okay. That's going to be quick. So these interlock much more simply than I thought. I thought you'd have to like do some sort of like twist and lock thing to hold them in place, but they just pop on with a very normal clip joint. So hopefully that doesn't cause any stability issues once they're together. Gotta go because it's 4 a.m. All right, man. Yeah, I've been thinking about maybe streaming at some different time slots, since I do have a large portion of my audience is in places like Malaysia and like Indonesia and Philippines and the like. So I've been considering doing some different time slot streams so that more of my audience can actually catch them live. P-Bandai reprint wishlist. I would like to see... Man, what do I want to see P-Bandai wise? It might be nice to see the... how about the... I like the high grade... I know the high grade Pixie hasn't technically been reprinted for a while, but there's a lot of them floating in the aftermarket, so I feel like that one doesn't really count. But I do know the Master Grade Gaogaigar Cannon, the 2.0, the gray one, in the MSV colors, is very, very hard to get a hold of. So I think that could use a reprint. That's gonna be my answer. I think I answered that a couple streams ago, Red Gaming, but I think my favorite super robot would probably have to be Mazinger Kaiser. It's a very cool looking Mazinger. Unless we're counting Transformers, in which case my favorite super robot is, well, very obvious and self-explanatory. Yeah, these treads really don't like to stay together. There's very little tension that's actually latching them in. Okay, there we go. So there's one tread. Oop. Seems to roll pretty well. Little janky, but fortunately it's going to spend most of its time sitting on the back of his leg, since it's not like I'm going to just display the vehicles separately. So I don't think the treads are going to be too much of an issue. That wasn't too bad. That only took like 20 minutes to get through one of them. One down, one to go. Yo, on the high grade Mazinger Kaiser. Oh, is that the Infinitism one? That's a nice kit. I want to get pretty much all those Infinitism kits at some point. I really like how that set of Mazingers look. Action Comics 1 goes over 3 million. Most of them got burned in the 30s. 40s. Yeah, it's really hard to find an intact Action Comics 1 nowadays. I own Char's Goku 2.0. It's an alright kit. Not exactly a fan of the undercooked salmon color scheme. I've got the Uma Lightning P-Bandai kit, and that I love that mold. That is such a cool kit. I want to grab the Johnny Raiden version they just did as a P-Bandai. Unfortunately, I didn't have the cash for it when it first went up, but I want to see if I can grab one at some point, because I would love to have those two kits displayed together. They make such an awesome pair in the manga. I believe Is it? I'm pretty sure the version of Raiden's Gaogaigar they just did the kit of is the actual version of it from Return of Johnny Raiden, so if that's the case, I'm definitely going to be picking one up. Although I do kind of wish they gave you the cannon parts with it, since that was the classic MSV version of Johnny Raiden's Gaogaigar, but I don't know, maybe that'll be a separate kit down the line. Or maybe at the very least they'll reprint the MSV colors cannon so that we can get the cannon parts and put them on the Raiden cannon. I also kind of wish the new Raiden Gaogaigar had the blue beam sabers like the 1.0 kit did. That was one of the coolest parts of the kit, honestly, was that he had the beam naginata that the other Gaogaigars do, but his had blue blades instead of red, or blue blades instead of yellow rather, which looked really, really cool with the red and black. HG prototype Stark Jigen. Yeah, that would be a good. It's hard to tell because a lot of these kits I don't really seek out a lot of older P Bandai kits, so I don't really know what's hard to find and what isn't. And the 8th MS Team Gym Sniper. Yeah, I don't think that's been reprinted very much either. Why the hell would you burn comics? I don't know. I don't think people burn them. I think they're just hard to find because it was a 5-cent newspaper comic from almost 100 years ago. Like, that's... Whether people are trying to intentionally destroy them or not, they're going to be hard to find. When I finished the HG Gaogaigar Johnny Raiden and they announced an MG right after... Yeah, I passed on the high grade because I don't really like that high grade Gaogaigar mold. You don't have the cream of the crop, the master grade full armor Gundam. I don't think that's a P Bandai kit, but no, I don't have it. I don't really have any interest in it either. I don't really like the full armor Gundam design. Whether it's the Origin version or just the regular one. I think it's just kind of not a very interesting Gundam. So just don't want to pay aftermarket scalper prices. Yeah, that's fair. Got the Ultron and Red Dragon 2. Kind of rather build the prototype or the God first, though. And of course, there's other like non-Gundam kits too, like the Frame Arms Girl Durga. Let me just check something on the stream real quick, and we'll be right back. Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought. Popeye started off in comics? Yes, he did. After getting Zeta Verka ordered and paying for the high new Verka tomorrow, still got a list of MDs and HGs considering getting. Yeah, we all do. We all do. The never-ending list of kits to go out and buy. The MG Full Armor Gundam is much more harder to find than any P Bandai product. People had a brawl at Gundam Base last year for it. Yeah, those Gundam Base exclusive reprints are so stupid. I hate that so much. That, like, if you want something like a Turn X or a Full Armor Gundam, you have to go to a Gundam Base or, like, pay someone to go to a Gundam Base for you to pick it up. That is unbelievably stupid. I can't believe that's the last way they reprinted the Re-100 line, too. It sucks because I want to recommend the Re-100 kits to people. I really do. They're some of my favorite models that I've ever built, but Bandai just does not reprint them. So there's almost no point in recommending them because I don't think someone should go out and pay, you know, $90 for a Re-100 Bawu or whatever, because it's not worth that. But if Bandai would actually reprint it for the, you know, $40 or whatever that it's supposed to be, then yeah, it's an amazing kit. But they need to actually reprint it, which they don't seem to be even remotely interested in doing. I don't know if Neo Zeon are supposed to be neo-Nazis necessarily. Neo-Nazi makes me think like much later and entirely removed from original Nazis. Well, Neo-Zeon is still fairly generationally connected to regular Zeon. It's kind of just, you know, the same Zeon people that just continued being Zeon. Especially since there's only like a, 10, 15 year time gap between original Gundam, the 1 Year War, and like the Char's counterattack era Neo-Zeon stuff. Not exactly a different generation of Zeon, just people continuing the original ideology. Quick PSA, join the Discord, we need more people there. Yep. Well, I wouldn't say we need more people there. It's very nice and cozy and small, but yes, if you aren't in the Discord, there is a Discord. I think there might be an invite link floating around. I did put one out yesterday. I believe it has a 7-day expiration, so if anyone who happens to still have that link, feel free to post it in chat for the peeps that don't already know. Although I would imagine, since the viewership of these streams tends to be pretty consistent, I imagine that most, if not all, the people that are here already have had an opportunity to get in the Discord, so if they wanted to go over, they're probably already there. Yakushiki 2.0, Dom, Rick Dom, Tolkis, and or Proto Zero, and the Alex 2.0 for MG. Oh, you're talking about the kits you're looking at getting, yeah. Infinitism, Mouse and Kaiser, Shenlong, Dragonar, Gundam Rose. Yeah, let me just look at that list again. Yakushiki's a great kit. And the Infinitism, Mouse and Kaiser is cool. I have heard from some people that apparently the articulation on it isn't very good, so it's kind of just a stand there and look cool kit, but man, does that kit look cool. And yeah, oh yeah, High Grade Dragonar is another really good choice too. That's an awesome kit. I love the style of that mobile suit. And I know it's not technically a mobile suit, but you could totally fit that thing in as some like late UC, maybe like F91 or Crossbone era Gundam. It just has that look to it. Favorite Reworld 100 is the Free Custom. Oh yeah, that is an awesome kit. That's right up there with the Bawu for me. Those are two of my favorite models. Thank God I bought it when it was available. Yeah, exactly. Think South Park will ever reference Mobile Suit Gundam? Probably not. Unless it becomes like really, really popular after the movie. They tend to reference more so broader American culture than very specific pieces of pop culture, especially imported stuff. Come on. Some Xeon Gundam merchandise is hard to buy because it looks too suggestive to a certain group. Yeah, I mean, I guess like some stuff like the flag kind of is, but most of the mobile suits I feel like you wouldn't necessarily know unless someone told you that that's what they were based off of. Only Re 100 I'm interested in currently is the Shokyu. Oh yeah, the Shokyu is a pretty cool kit. So there we go. There's our treads. That was not as bad as I thought it was going to be. So I'm just going to set those off to the side, and we can now continue building the tank. So Drill Gao needs these armature pieces. That's G5 and 6. Far as I know, Dragonar was supposed to be a replacement for Double Z. Yeah, Dragonar was one of the many times that Bandai has decided, Bandai or Sunrise, or kind of both of them, I guess, tried to make a Gundam killer series to like replace Gundam as like their new thing, and then realized that mecha fans specifically want Gundam, and anything else they try to make just fails miserably. You know, doesn't matter if it's Dragonar, doesn't matter if it's Elgime or Kyokai Senki or what. No matter what they try, it just doesn't have the staying power that Gundam does. So nowadays they just stick with Gundam pretty much. And yeah, the flag is very, it's It's pretty obvious when it's actually like up and on a wall or something that it's not that kind of flag, but if you see it like folded up in a package or something, it is very suspicious. 33s. Okay, so that's the side pieces for the treads. Worst kit of all time, Tristan? Yeah, I'd say probably it is the Tristan. When you factor in everything and consider the time the kit came out, the amount of effort they put into it, the amount of effort they could have put into it for not that much more money, yeah, it's a pretty bad kit. And I think Bandai did learn their lesson from that though, because I feel like the Tristan failing miserably is a big part of why nowadays, whenever we get a kit that's reusing parts from an older model, even if it's only like maybe 8 or 9 years old, they'll try to do everything they can to bring it up to spec with modern kits. You know, even if it's something like the Sinanju Stein High Grade, for example, where the original Sinanju is really not that bad of a kit, they still went and they gave it updated hips just to make sure that it didn't feel like an inferior kit to some of the newer releases. Should make more kits based off Cosmo Babylonia. Yeah, that'd be cool. There's a lot of interesting mech designs in F91, and a lot of them don't have kits, or at least not modern ones. Absolutely, man. F91 and beyond need more love. Yeah, late UC is kind of the part of the UC that Bandai doesn't talk about. In a way, I guess late UC was also kind of another one of their attempts at replacing Gundam that failed. Because F91 was supposed to be a kind of a soft reboot of the Gundam universe, and so was Victory, and neither of those did particularly well. It wasn't until G Gundam that they actually had a successful kind of reboot of Gundam. RG Sinanju is good until you touch it. Yeah, I've actually got an RG Sinanju in my backlog. Oh, actually, that'd be I don't want to build it right now. I'm gonna wait until after I built a few consecutive good kits to bust out the RG Sinanju, but I do have one in my backlog and I want to get to it on stream at some point. I think that could be a really entertaining build. I do actually kind of like it as a kit though. Like, yeah, it's terrible, but it looks amazing. The gold looks awesome. It's 1/144th scale, so it'll look nice with my other kits. Dovin Wolf feels like it's P-Bandai now. Yeah, a lot of kits do. I saw pictures earlier today of a third-party kit that's kind of like a... It's very obviously based off the God Gundam, but they kind of changed it up enough that it's not technically the God Gundam, but it was a really cool looking kit. Unfortunately, I didn't quite catch the name of it when I saw it, so I couldn't really look up more information about it, but it's probably by one of those many Chinese companies that have been popping up and making their own original mecha kits. Was disappointed about how Twilight Axis is the only Gundam show Arc Performance worked on. I didn't know Arc Performance worked on that. I watched that whole anime. The whole thing's like 20 minutes long total, and it's you know what? As much crap as people give Seed, as much crap as people give G-Reco, I think Twilight Axis might actually be the worst Gundam anime of all time, because it is almost incoherent as is. And there's a novel. You can read the novel, and you're going to get a way better experience from reading the novel, so I really would recommend that everyone go and do that instead of watching the anime. I believe Xeonic Scanlations put up a full translation of the entire thing, so the whole novel's available in English, and reading that, even though you're just reading it and it's not animated, you are getting a much, much, much better experience than watching the anime. Ever heard of Extreme Late UC like Manga Mad Wang that takes place in UC 1000? I've heard of Gaogaigar and G-Reco in Turn A. That's about as far as I know as far as like late UC stuff goes. Early drafts, Uso is meant to be Char's grandson. I think I heard about that, yeah. I think I've heard that before. Lord Stray double rebake versus 60 plus Eldora army going order 66. Double rebake was the one that's... Was that the one from Divers or Divers Re-Rise? I can never keep those two straight. Which way does this go? This way. Okay. Those go in just like that. Is that where these go? Are we sure? That doesn't seem right. Is there a left and a right to these? Oh, I see. It tucks underneath the tread. Nope, I don't see. Am I just, like, missing a... This goes this way, right? And then those two holes attach to these two pegs. But it's interfering with this. I might not have these tubbed in all... Oh yeah, I bet that's it. I probably don't have these connected as tightly as they should be. Yeah, okay, so these are supposed to... Nope, they're interlocked, so they should be fine. Let me try that again. Chinese god doesn't have a name yet. The branch is Battle God Mecha. Okay. And yeah, the tank treads work. You have to build each section individually. Each one of the individual tread pieces is a separate part. I'm gonna try putting it on the other side. One of the two pilots in Re-Rise. Oh, yeah, okay. I don't know, that could probably chew through Eldoras pretty easily. They're not particularly difficult opponents. What is going on here? Hang on, I gotta take this off cam so I can study it more closely. It's not the nub, is it? No, I don't think that's causing enough interference. That is weird. These are all the same piece. There's no difference in shape. But they're... How is this... That is so weird. So I'm trying to get this side skirt piece on the tank tread, right? Like it goes on like this, and these two holes go into these pegs on the back, but this piece is interfering with it. And it's exactly where it says it should be in the manual. It looks like it's pushed in all the way. It's just hitting up against the bottom of this part. Gundam getting us dark. I mean, I'm pretty sure Gundam's already darker than Order 66. Order 66 looks like a daycare compared to Gundam practically. Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay, so in order for it to... Is this even the right piece? G33, right? G33, yes, these are the right piece. Okay. And I have this oriented correctly. I have these oriented correctly. The treads are going the wrong way. Actually, I should fix that. That's going to annoy the crap out of me. I gotta fix these treads. There we go. So this side goes this way, and then it wraps up and around and locks together like that. There we go. Pretty sure whoever made it was trying to be 5 stars 4s but failed. Yeah, I have not read Mad Wang. Let me look at how these go together. So these two parts are supposed to interlock. When they get inside, they kind of push together like that. So, oh, I think I might have had this upside down because the attachment hole for the armatures is offset. So I think I had it like this instead of like this. I think that's going to fix the problem. So, grab you. You go here now. Okay, yeah, this is going to work much better now. That was definitely what the problem was, because that shifts the armature up slightly. So now that piece is very easily able to go on around it. Yep, that was the problem. Okay. Except now the treads are backwards again because I flipped it around. Okay. One more time. Just to make sure everything is aligned correctly. And it is. Okay. So the treads do not have enough grip to actually tread. They just slide around. Doesn't matter the material, there's just too much friction here. They can be rolled by hand though. So that's something at least. Just refocus that. There we go. Alright, Flames, see you later. So, I know now that that's supposed to face up. So I can take these pieces, connect them together. They'll interlock inside, just like that. And now I can pop these in, just like that. There. So there's the completed tread units. Those are all done. Gonna set those off to the side. And now we're gonna build the FEET. All right, let's go. Feet have a better hold on the ground. Yeah. Feet grip the ground pretty well. Which runners are we using? We're using GB, and D. Okay, so let's start with the G runner. 43, 45. Looks like these are all foot parts. Although I guess in a sense, these aren't really feet so much as they are shoes. Because the feet are Gaogar's feet, and these are just his shoes for Gaogaigar. They can design those treads in RG gun tank as possible later. Honestly, for an RG gun tank, at least for that kit, I really hope they would engineer some sort of pre-built treads for it. Because it seems like the sort of thing that Real Grade would do, and a gun tank is like a high enough profile release as like a big 0079 thing, that they could probably design new treads for it. Although it's possible that they already tried to do that with Gaogaigar, and they might have just realized that it's not possible. Because if it was possible, I feel like with Gaigar, they probably would have done it here as well. Looks like almost all of this parts for the treads. Or for the drill Gao, rather. Boots. Exactly, they're boots. heel piece, and then this connector. Okay, that looks like that. That would be the... Oh, that's the colored runner. We got 11, 10, 9, and 2. Also need 4, 41, and 46. It's 24, I don't want that. And 41. Now we move on to the B runner. Oh wait, that's the A runner. There we go. This makes more sense, 'cause I'm pretty sure there are some red parts. There's red parts on Drill Gao, but there's no orange or yellow, so B it is. Doing live build streams? Yeah, I'm trying to stream more regularly now. I don't know if I'll stream daily, but I at least want to stream 2 or 3 times a week. Is that part of the... No, I don't think that's part of the drill. This is, so 11, 10. I just realized that's probably part of Stealth Gao. Oops. Well, I just need to remember to keep track of that. No, big boy, I did not have the urge to build some feet. I just wanted to have some normal streams where I build some normal kits, and you guys had to make everything about feet. Technically, Cat, treads are not tank feet. Treads are tank shoes. The feet are the wheels that roll the treads. Long continues. No, they're not metal feet. They're metal shoes. They're just big shoes for big round tank feet. 6 people watching and 30,000 subs because 99% of my audience does not interact with my content. For the last 3 years, I've basically been building my channel from the ground up because the vast majority of my audience doesn't actually watch my videos. Yes, big boy, you guys are the real audience. The 15 to 30 people that show up for the streams are the audience of Channel 2S, effectively. Plus the 2,000 to 3,000 people that watch the videos. They're actually the same 10 people who keep putting the videos on repeat in their sleep. Yeah, exactly. That's why it takes so long for them to hit 1,000 views. It's because it's the same people have to be able to watch them over and over. There's more of this, like, it's like a smoky, kind of like a smoky gray plastic. Sort of like the canopies for the train. So... that should be clean enough. Okay, that looks good. So, what other parts do I need? I got all the G parts and the B parts. I need some parts from the D runner. Okay. So there's that. Be a third gate somewhere, right? Yeah. Where was this on the runner? Should be on the front or the back. Whatever. If I can't see it, it doesn't matter. How are you for time? We're about an hour in. Okay. See if I can accelerate this a little bit so we have time to try all the different combinations at the end of the stream. Because it's not just about building the kit. There's so many different modes and different configurations that we have to try. And that's going to take quite a while to do. Them dead subs kind of people who still asked to finish 12 Days of Gunpla. Yeah, there's a couple of videos in that series that I didn't finish. Every once in a while I do get like random comments from people asking me to follow up videos that I made like 4 years ago. Those are very easy to lose. You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to stick the drill tips in the drills right now, just so I don't lose those pieces, because they are the exact size as most of the nubs on this kit. In fact, I don't even know why these are separate parts. They really don't need to be. This could have very easily been a single piece. There we go. So I'm almost done with this batch, and then we're going to cut out the parts from the D runner. There. Okay, so D runner would be. Did I get that out? Didn't. Okay. Wait, no. I do. The white runner. D8. D8 is this runner. So I need 5, 7, and 8, and 3. Just a bunch of big random black pieces. You got some toes, a little connector piece. I always forget the names of the other two Gao machines in our Stealth Gao. Yeah, it's Drill Gao and Liner Gao, which I only know because I just read their names in the manual. Maybe they're separate pieces because it's hard to mold them. I hear molding very sharp tips is hard. Probably. They're very, very tiny little pieces. Maybe there's some other version of Gaogaigar that has the tips colored differently, so they separated them for that kit. 7, that's the other one I need. There we go. There's that. And I need 8, the big guy. And 6. I already took out 6, okay. And we just do that again for the other runner. And that should be all the pieces that I need for this step. Where's Gao Eagle, Shark, and Bison? Those are Gaogaigar, right? Or no, that's... Or is that Final Gaogaigar? I can never keep them straight. Alright, so set that off to the side. Oh shit, I didn't realize that was a Gao Ranger reference. That went right over my head. Cause there is a Gaogaigar that has like sharks or dolphins or something instead of the train, and like the stealth bomber kind of looks like a bird, and they turn the drill tank into a mole or something. So it's like trying to remember, like, wait, is that an actual Gao form? Could be. I can't remember if I still have them, but I used to have quite a few of the Gao animals. They were really cool figures because they're so like die-cast metal, and there's chrome all over them. And I always really liked that Sentai Mecha set because I always liked the ones where you can switch around the units. So it's, you know, you have like all these different arm or leg pieces that are universal, and you can make all these different combinations. Yeah, Gao Ranger had some really cool mecha. Different torsos, different body, different torsos, different arms, different legs. I like combining mecha like that can let you make your own combinations. You don't look like someone who watches Super Robot Dipper, but you do know a suspicious amount about it. Also, Super Sentai is Super Robot adjacent. So you seem to know an awful lot about Gao Ranger for someone who doesn't watch Super Robots. I think my first experience with Power Rangers as a kid was the really like janky looking CGI hamster sensei from Ninja Storm. I don't even think I realized it was Power Rangers. I have a very vivid memory of seeing that creature while flipping through channels as a kid. I don't think I even sat on the channel long enough to see what show it was. I just saw the hamster and I was like, yep, that's not happening, and moved on to the next show. Okay, so that goes on here. This goes... Nope, wrong connector. Probably shouldn't have cut out quite this many pieces at once because I can't tell what's what anymore. It's not this, it is this piece. So where does it... Oh, it goes here. I see. Then this goes right here. Okay. And the drill goes on the front. Did not miss anything while nubbing that. Where's the little canopy pieces? There we go. I was actually surprised some of the mechs in Super Sentai were actual deities. Yeah, that was one of the things that they kind of took away the sentience of a lot of the mecha for Power Rangers. Even going back to Zoo Ranger, the Daizujin was supposed to be like a sentient beast god. No, it's Mystic Force. Yeah, I remember Mystic Force. I remember that whole Disney era run of Power Rangers was definitely my childhood. Which way does this go? Oh, it goes onto this piece first. Wait a minute. Wow. So they sculpted in. You can't even see this. They sculpted in a seat and cockpit detail. And you can't even see it through the canopy. The way these parts go together, you're literally never seeing what's under there, but they sculpted in the seat anyways. First Power Rangers I saw is Lightspeed Rescue with Titanium Ranger. Yeah, that was an original design for Power Rangers. They did that again in Jungle Fury. They had the Spirit Rangers, which are really awesome designs. I wish the Lightning Collection would do a full set of Jungle Fury Rangers with the Spirit Rangers. Where does this go? Okay, I guess I'm setting that aside for now. Oh, no, that's the piece that I just made. Oh, this way. Didn't watch Mystic Force, but I was surprised much because Soga had her last role on it as Witch Pandora. Yeah, I think they gave her a cameo in that. This piece. That doesn't look right or feel right, but I think I can force it in. This way. There we go. Now, build the bottom of the feet. So we got this piece, this piece, hollow side facing up, and it just goes down like this. And you, how do you attach? Oh, it just rests in there. G46. Which one of you is that? That's gonna be a gray piece. Oh, it's this. It's gonna go up into here. Oh, that forms those little vent pieces. And then the foot gets pushed down onto here. Whoop. Don't want to push on there. That pops that out. There's really no good area to push these two pieces together from, because everywhere you'd naturally want to press is other pieces that you don't want to move. I think that's in. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So I hope that's oriented correctly, and it seems like it is. So now we just do that again. So this piece, little ring goes on the edge, drill goes on the top, this piece goes here. There. You just check something again. Whoop, nope, don't want to click on that. Come on, there you go. And okay. So there's that. Now, where's that other little cockpit piece? Did I cut both of those out? I didn't. Okay. I mean, yes, Gaogaigar has a foot. No, okay. Gaogaigar does not have a foot cockpit. Gaogaigar has 2 feet cockpits. I haven't seen the anime, but I believe there is a separate pilot for each Gao machine. So there's a pilot for the drill, there's a pilot for the plane, and there's a pilot for the train. But the dual cockpits does imply that there would be 2 pilots, and maybe there is potentially space for 2 people to control it. Could be like a gun tank kind of situation. Okay, so you go here. Yes. And then this is not the right part. I want this piece. Yeah, if you're into feet, it's even better that he has 2 foot cockpits. There's actually there's another Gaogaigar called Final Gaogaigar, and that one's actually got full-on toes. It's got big, like, kind of clawed feral feet, and a tail, and a mane, and claws on his hands. They basically turned him into a furry. Oh, that's where this piece goes. It's covering up this part so it doesn't fall out. I might get the Kotobukiya frame arm scroll version of this guy. Have a cute anime version of Gaogaigar with a lolly Goldie Marks the sidekick. To be honest, I kind of like the design of the Goldie Mar girl more than the Gaogaigar one. And no, I don't like her in that kind of way. I just think it's a cute design. This piece, yes. There we go. So those are heel pieces. And get to those in a moment, but right now I need a couple G40s and an H28. Do you think that's a funny design too? Oh, yeah, I think it's very cute and funny. I like the design a lot. She's got the funny hammer on her back. Very cute character design. In all seriousness, though, I would actually like to see some color prototype images of that, because the resin, the like grayscale resin prototype they showed off does look pretty good. The other two? Did I cut them off? 40. Yes, I think I did. Okay. I really hope I'll have time to build all the Gao machines tonight. I don't really want to drag this out for another stream. Worst case scenario, this one's just going to be really, really long. Because I definitely want to finish this kit tonight. You go this way, right? Oh, I see. There's only two of these pieces. And you just put one on one side and the other one's covered up by this. I get it. It's like an asymmetry thing. So then this goes like that. And then the black piece drops down over the top, and that makes the heel. Okay, I get it now. All right. So now this piece. Oh, I see. These connect. Okay, I think I get that now. So I need to make another one of those. make the other side's version of this. And pop the other version of that part on there. Where is it? It was on this runner, right? Yeah. Oh, I've already got it right here. Just like that. Oh, that's not denubbed properly. Okay, now we're finally starting to build the main body of the legs. We can finally move past the feet. Definitely going to need these parts as well. There we go. So, I'm going to grab one set of these. So there's one. So I'm going to take these, and this is where we actually start assembling things. So they go like this. I think, yeah. Okay. Okay. And then the same thing for the other one. So take the whole assembly and we just kind of there we go. All right. 2 hours in and or not 2 hours. Actually, it's only been an hour and a half. We're moving on to the next page, so we should be able to finish this. And we take this part, and that plugs in here. Oh, so the foot just kind of, that's weird. Well, we'll see how that looks when it's all put together. Well, I guess that's really our first major bit of inner frame on this kit, and it's here on the legs. For a real grade, there's really not much, if any, frame on this kit at all. Okay, so now we take the tread. And that just slides up in here. Okay. There we go. So now we do the same thing on this side. So this goes here. And then the foot goes here. Actually, I guess the foot would go on this side because it's reversed. And then these come together. Yeah, I can't wait until I see this finished foot. I'm really looking forward to it. Any new Marvel Legends? I haven't been super impressed by a lot of the Legends stuff I've seen recently. I kind of like the new Hawkeye, but it's like $50 with a hover bike that I don't care about. I was kind of excited when I saw the announcement for that like Avengers Anniversary set they're doing, but most of the figures in it haven't interested me a ton. The one I'm probably most likely to get is the Mark 1 first appearance Iron Man with the cave in a box of scraps armor. They're just so expensive now that they're almost... Marvel Legends are kind of outgrowing the price range that keeps them as a viable product. Because what's nice about Marvel Legends is they're not great figures, but they're cheap. You used to be able to pick them up for like $20. But when they're selling them for like $30, $35 a pop, as if they're some sort of, you know, premium import brand, well, that's not really their zone, you know? Like they keep pumping up their prices without really being competitive enough to actually justify it. So it's getting to the point now where I'd rather just buy a, you know, $90 Mafex figure. Because at least with that, you're getting the ultimate version of the character. There, so that's the other tread. Now we gotta grab that leg armor. And I have actually been looking at the Mafex figures recently. I really like that Iron Man they made, and the Thor they have coming out soon looks really, really good. I dropped my my Marvel Legends Iron Man that I have fell off a shelf recently, and one of his repulsor blasts just evaporated into the void. So that's not the only reason I'm looking at replacing him. He's overall not a great figure, but that was one of the reasons that kind of pushed me over the edge to start looking at the Mafex ones. Yeah, the only one I have on pre-order so far is the Mark 1. Even the Spider-Verse line hasn't impressed me. No, I'm not really super interested in getting the Spider-Verse figures just because they're so hyper specialized towards that like really cartoony aesthetic. And to be fair, they nail it. I'm just not really interested in collecting figures that look like that. The other thing that annoys me with the Marvel Legends is because of the kind of that like soft plastic they use for the figures. Whenever you have them in like a pose on display for a long time, after like a year or so, the legs kind of bow out. So a lot of my Marvel Legends, the legs kind of come down like this, and then they spread out at the knees because the legs would slowly tip in from them standing in kind of like a wider stance on the shelf for a while. I'd say Doctor Strange probably has it the worst. I eventually just had to put him up on an action base just because his legs were getting ridiculous. But even Iron Man with his much thicker leg joints they still kind of spread out over time. Import figures, though, use much harder plastics for their figures, so if I got a Mafex Iron Man, that wouldn't be as much of an issue. I also kind of wanted to pick up a couple figures from their Batman Hush line, but the problem with those is that if I got, you know, like Huntress or Nightwing or something, they wouldn't really scale with my DC Multiverse figures because they're 6-inch scale instead of 7-inch. Never really been that big on action figures? Oh, I've always been really big on action figures. That's how I got into Gundam. Gundams are just buildable, customizable action figures. Gundam also gives me the overwhelming urge to paint my figures when I see a figure that has a really good sculpt but just doesn't have the right paintwork to bring it out. Like that Page Puncher's wave that McFarlane did with the Flash figures. They look like really cheap and crappy and toyetic, but it's because they don't paint anything on them. Like if any of the 4 figures in that wave are painted, they look fantastic. They just gave them this really outlandish sculpting and they didn't fill it in properly. Aside from good versions of characters I'm very fond of. Yeah, that's why you go with the import figures. If you're not like a big time like collector and you just want like the best Spider-Man figure or the best Batman figure, like that's pretty much the way to go. SH Figuarts, Figma, Mafex. They make some really nice figures. Although 99% of what Figma does nowadays is just characters from random gacha games that I don't play, so I don't find myself buying them very much. Last one I saw that really caught my eye was that release they did of the big booby version of Artoria that came with the horse. Mostly just because it came with a horse. That was, and it wasn't like some like generic horse model. It was very clearly specifically meant to be her horse with unique armor and everything. I need G39. It was like a $300 set though, so I didn't pre-order it. And yet Iron Man's Dendrobium doesn't have anything. I think they're probably scared they get sued if they actually made that. They definitely do not want to draw attention to the fact that they totally just ripped off a Dendrobium for an Iron Man armor. Kind of want to get the Mondo Batman animated line, but most of their stuff is just one time without reissues. Yeah. I was looking at some of the DC Essentials figures for characters like Supergirl that we're probably not going to get in the McFarlane line anytime soon, and they are very expensive on the aftermarket right now. I kind of wish I got into collecting the DC stuff a couple years earlier so I could have caught those when they came out. Also, knowing that those exist now, it makes a lot more sense that McFarlane is going for more kind of esoteric random variants of figures, because the Essentials line came out right before they got the license, and that knocked out the classic versions of pretty much every character, so it makes sense that they're trying to be a bit more creative since they know a lot of people already have those. Same stuff like that here is so expensive. I don't know how much your average Figma costs in the States. It's like $100. Oh, they're $100 everywhere. Like Figmas are crazy expensive, but you're getting a good figure for your money. That's the trade-off is, you know, you're paying 5 times as much, but the figure's 5 times as good. But yeah, Figmas are going to be expensive no matter where you get them. Right, that goes there. Sometimes you can find them on the Japanese aftermarket for cheaper if you look at places like AmiAmi's used section. Okay, this is the inside of the leg. Only cheap anime figures are waifu kits. Yeah, that's the thing with model kits is a lot of the cost of making figures goes into the assembly and the painting. So model kits, that's why it seems like so many of the model kits are so much better than comparable figures. When you get something like a Robot Damashi, you look at it and you're like, man, this is basically just a high grade, but it's $70. And that's because making something equivalent to a high grade as an action figure costs about $70 to do. It's not cheap to make something like Gunpla. And that's also why when I see some of these kits that are just really, really expensive for what they are, and there is a equivalently priced or similarly priced model kit, or rather a similarly priced figure to the model kit, I almost always recommend people to get the figure instead, even if they prefer building models, just because you're getting a better value there. Okay, so this is where we put the ventilated one. See 1,000 Batman, they're doing Two-Face Penguin, what next? Penguin? Oh, so hang on. Two-Face Batman, what next? Penguin Batman? Unironically, yes. They are probably going to make a Penguin Batman. I have seen, there's like a leak thread or something on Reddit, and it basically announces everything that they're doing in advance. And apparently they actually do have some cool stuff down the line. They're going to be doing a first appearance Superman. They're going to be doing the original Alan Scott Green Lantern that has like the yellow cape and the red costume. Or not the yellow cape, green cape. Maybe it was yellow. Like the original Green Lantern. And they're going to be doing some other stuff too. Of course, lots of Batman variants as well. They're going to be finally making a like a modern Batwoman figure, but it's going to be in a 3-pack with basically unchanged versions of Clayface and Rebirth Batman. Wish they made more Figurized Labo. Figurized Labo was an interesting idea, but I think the problem with it was that I think a lot of model kit builders don't really care about figurines, and figurine people don't really care about building model kits, so I think there just wasn't enough of a market crossover for them to be really viable. Oh, these tab together. Did I put the wrong piece in there? I think I did. Crap. Yep, that wasn't supposed to go there. That was not supposed to go there. Okay, let me pry this off. Oh, crap. Does this even come out? I might have screwed myself here. Nope, that just broke the tip off my X-Acto. Okay. Let me get a little pry bar here. It's kind of why I've been dabbling with the idea of getting into 3D printed statuettes. Yeah, that's a really cool avenue to get into. Okay, there we go. Got it out. Okay. So, just to make sure. Yes, that is the one that's supposed to go on this side. There's definitely a lot of people out there that make STL files for like resin figures that you can print out. And it's really just like painting like those resin garage kits you get. So it definitely takes some painting skill, but I feel like it's a much more accessible way to start doing that sort of thing, because even though it's not like it's free to print out resin kits, I feel like when they're 3D printed, it kind of frees you up to be a little more experimental and try things you wouldn't normally do, because you know you can just print another version of the part if you screw it up. Like, if I really want to practice painting eyes on figurines, I could just print out like 20 copies of the same figure's head and just keep practicing over and over and over until I eventually get it right. So I think it kind of encourages you to kind of step outside of your comfort zone and experiment more in that way. Plus, having Fumina in there was kind of a mid-pick for mass market. At the time, she was probably the closest thing that Bandai had to a marketable female character, so I understand why they did it. I think Miku was a better choice, but the problem with Miku is that there's 40 billion different Miku statues out there, and there's statues that look as good as the Labo but are cheaper, and there's statues that are a bit more expensive than it that look way better. So for a figurine person, there was absolutely no reason to buy the Labo, and I think there just weren't enough model kit people that were interested in buying it too. I have no idea if getting a hold of them would be cheaper than buying the figures. I mean, most people sell the STLs of those type of figures for around 20-30 bucks. So I would say that's generally reasonable given the amount of work that goes into sculpting something like that. Good Smile Company has some nice equivalents. I saw a power kit that's not articulated. Yeah, Good Smile Company. I can't remember the name of the line, but they have a line of these figurine model kits that they're a lot like those really old character models you'd get in the 80s of like a Frankenstein monster or Dracula or something, where it's just a completely unpainted statuette and a little diorama of the character, and you have to do all the paintwork and stuff yourself. Even better, you could just remove the paint. Resin's very resilient. Yeah, that makes sense too. That would probably be a bit more efficient way to do it. Okay, but when is someone inventing resin too? I mean, I'm pretty sure there's already more than 2 versions of resin. And I mean, if you want to get real smart-ass technical about it, I'm pretty sure every solid plastic is technically a form of resin. I believe like this is classified as a resin scientifically, so there's a lot of different kinds of resin. You know what they could do for Labo right now? VTubers. They absolutely could. They absolutely could. And you know what? They really need to leverage the Labo thing more than they do, because they could actually get their hands on a lot of licenses that they wouldn't normally be able to do with it. because the end product is a figurine, sure, but the product itself is technically a model kit. And that's the funny thing, is that when it comes to licensing out stuff for shows and characters, the type of product you're making matters, because no one gets the license to make all of the merch for X or the license to get all of the merch for Y. They will buy the rights to make figurines for X, or model kits for Y, or die-cast cars for Y, or keychains and backpacks for Y. So because of that, if you see something that's really, really popular, but someone else has already snatched up the figure rights to it, if you're making model kits that sort of become figures once they're assembled, that's technically a different kind of product, so you'd still have a shot at that license. So I think they could really leverage that to grab some IPs that they wouldn't normally be able to get, but that depends on how interested they are in pursuing a continuation of the Labo line. Cool thing is I have a friend who owns a 3D printer. I can just ask him to print it out. Yeah, exactly. And the resin isn't, you're right, the resin isn't that expensive. I think it's usually like $30 for a liter, which is like a pretty good sized bottle, and you can get a decent amount of prints out of that, especially if you make sure you print your parts hollow. So they just have like a kind of a wall of resin around the outside, and then they're hollow in the inside. A lot of times the parts themselves are designed so there's like a drainage hole in the bottom, so you just, when you're taking the parts out of the build tray, you just kind of let the resin drain out the bottom, and you end up saving a lot of resin that way. It's also generally a bad idea to not do that, because apparently what can happen if you don't have hollow parts is that sometimes liquid resin gets like stuck on the inside, and it will literally cause the parts to split open. So obviously that's not something you want. Okay, so oh, that's where these pieces go. They go on the outside. But yes, I would like to get a resin printer at some point. It's something that I don't really have space for right now, and it's a little bit messy, so I don't necessarily want to deal with that at the moment, but I would really like to get a resin printer in the future. Right now I have an FDM printer, and it's not quite to the same resolution in terms of parts detail that you get with a resin printer, but it's really amazing how close you can get. It's a lot, like, yes, there's print lines, but it's a lot closer to smooth than you might expect. And I find tinkering around with it and fiddling with it and experimenting to get just the right settings is a lot of fun. Especially since there's very little setup time to running a print. You can literally just feed the spool in, press a button, and go. So if you're trying a bunch of prints over and over to fine-tune your settings, there's less like cleanup and setup time as there would be compared to a resin printer. So it's a lot less tedious to do that kind of experimentation. I should look into that. It sounds like a cool thing to get. Yeah, it is. 3D printing is a really fun hobby, and it's very adjacent to Gunpla, so I would like to see if I could maybe kind of connect that bridge a little bit. Part of why I chose the FDM printing as well is it's a little more Gunpla-like in the sense that you can actually print your models in a lot more different materials and colors. So with resin, there are a few companies that make colored resin, but for the most part, you're just going to be dealing with like the flat gray color that, like garage kits come in. Well, with FDM printing, there's all these different colors you can print your parts in. So you could literally make a Gunpla style model where every single piece of the model is the correct color, and you just kind of snap everything together. Which is how, he's all the way back there, I'm not going to bust him out again, but I have a 3D printed Nemesis Prime that I made that way. And he was all FDM printed, and you can kind of see the print lines. It's not the greatest looking figure, but overall, from a distance, it looks pretty nice. That was actually made by a guy called Toymaker 3D. That's maker without an E, so it's M-A-K-R. He has a lot of print models. He has some that are available for free that he did of the G1 Transformers. They don't transform, they're just like the figures in like robot mode. And then he has some paid models of some really nice detailed stuff he did. He did a like one of the Macross mecha. He did a Mecha Godzilla. He did like this Gundam Evangelion fusion thing. He's got some really good models, and they're all designed to be printed via FDM, which is like the layered additive style printing. I'm not going to print 1/1 feet, although I could. I could print shoes that are custom designed to be specifically the shape of my feet. That's something that I think I've seen people do with 3D printing before. In fact, I think there's a company that does that. They'll they'll take like a 3D scan of your foot and then 3D print shoes for you that exactly match the shape of your foot. There we go. All right, I think the tank is just about done. I think. Yeah, this thing does not roll very well. There's just so many little bits and pieces in here for the treads to get caught on. They technically rotate, it's not a smooth rotation. Even if they free spun enough that you could roll them around the ground, there's just so much little bits and ends in there to get caught up on that it wouldn't really roll well anyways. Yeah, okay, so we're up to Stealth Gao now. So, take a quick break and check a couple things. Okay. And we're going to mess around with Drill Gao for a bit and see what this guy can do. Hey, look, I didn't look it up. I didn't go out of my way to find it. I just happened to see some sneaker YouTuber talk about it, and it looked like an interesting video, so I clicked on it, okay? I didn't actively seek out 3D printed shoe companies. So now that I think about it, that would be a great way to get feet pics. It's like, yeah, I have this custom shoe company. We make these custom shoes for you. All you have to do is just send us a bunch of really detailed pictures of your feet. Give us a 500-word description of your feet. Give us a 3D scan of your feet so we can see the depth and the contours and everything. We need every single piece of that information to make your shoes. Which way do these go? Oh, they come out like that. So you can stand up the drill tank a bit in case you want it to drill vertically for some reason. I'm gonna be honest with you, these type of drill vehicles always kind of annoyed me. It's such a common trope with like Super Sentai and Super Robot series, but they never make any sense to me because you have these tiny little drills up front and then this massive vehicle behind them. There's no way this could actually drill out enough to make room for itself to come through. Like whatever tunnel this is digging is going to be way smaller than the actual tank, so it's not going to be able to drill through. It's just a big tank with some little drills on the front. There we go. So, also it's a freaking massive drill tank considering this is a bullet train, and going off the cockpits, these are apparently supposed to be in scale with each other. Let's see how complicated a Stealth Gao is. That's not too bad. We can burn through this. Hey, I didn't say I would do it. I just said it's possible. Okay, so now we need the wire. So the wire is going to be for the armature that holds the helmet. That's just going to get folded in half. Okay, so C17. Which is the C runner? Where is the C runner? A, B. Oh, it's the black runner. Okay. I very nearly cut a ball joint off of that piece. I'm glad I was paying attention. B26 and 27. I've got this little mecha miniature, like a BattleTech kind of thing that I printed off recently that I might want to paint on stream sometime. I don't know if it's something a lot of people would really want to watch since it's not like based off some IP, so it doesn't really make for good YouTube content, but it's a fun little model and I could kind of use it as a introduction into 3D printing for people maybe. I don't know. I haven't decided how exactly I'm going to do that, but I do want to incorporate some more 3D printing content into the channel. There we go. So there's the last piece off of that runner. And then we have the big, beautiful Gaogaigar crest. There it is. And last one's undergated. Was also wondering the same after seeing the drill sergeant vehicle from Jason the Wheeled Warriors. The drill moves to the front, but it's a quarter-sized vehicle. Yeah, exactly. That type of vehicle just doesn't make sense. You look at real-life drill vehicles, and the drill is the vehicle. There's no extra vehicle around the drill. You'd have a drill like this, and then a vehicle that's as slim as possible coming out the back of it. But instead, they're just like, nah, we're gonna take a regular tank, strip the turret off, and stick a couple cones on the front. That's gonna be a totally functional mining vehicle. Okay, this one's also undergated. That's gonna be good for nubs. There. So, I think that needs a little bit of a trim. Take that off camera so I can see it better. There we go. There. Where does that even plug in? What? That doesn't make any sense. It's physically not wide enough to fit in there. Unless it goes between the red pieces. I have to be missing a step here. They're literally showing it with eyes that it doesn't have in the manual. How does that even make sense? Nope. Maybe I push it in from the back. I see the slots they're pointing to in the manual. It's just a matter of getting the face to actually fit in there. I can get it to rest there, but there's not enough tab on the side to connect in place. That is so weird. For something as important as the face, you'd think they'd attach it in there better. Okay. Well, I don't know what I did, but it's just barely sitting in there, and it's functional, so I'm not going to touch it. I'm just going to hope for the best. Okay, so I need H241. Holy crap, that is a tiny little gem. There. I feel like a jeweler. This is like setting an actual gemstone inside a ring. Gotta keep track which way is up to, because there's a tiny G sculpted on this gem. So even though the piece itself is omnidirectional, the pattern isn't. Okay, good. Okay, I got it in there straight. There we go. And then there's one more piece for the forehead. That's like a little forehead camera. And that is this orange piece right here. Thankfully much larger than the gem. There we go. Okay. Stuff that down in there, and now we need the wire. Oh, that's interesting. They give you a little, in the manual here, they actually give you a little ruler to indicate how much wire you need. So 7 centimeters of wire. So it gets trimmed right there. I'm gonna grab my cheap nipper so I don't break my god hands trying to cut through wire. Yes, I've definitely made that mistake before with previous models. That's what happened to the nippers that I had before my god hands, is I was cutting like a spring or something, and the metal just dug through the nippers instead of cutting. Okay. All right, so cheapo nippers are, yes, they are. Literally any 3D printer you buy, no matter whether it's $50 or $500, they all come with these. And I don't mean these as in nippers. I mean this exact pair of Chinese nippers. They're on eBay for like $1.50. They're literally everywhere. The good news is they're literally everywhere, which means they're easily replaceable, so you can beat them up and bang them up and it doesn't really matter. C29s, P24s. Let's look at the rest of this here. You know what? I'm thinking maybe I will actually finish this some other time. There's a lot more to continue building in this kit than I thought, and I've already been streaming for like 2 hours plus at this point, so I think I'm going to wrap it up here for tonight. Thank you for watching. Please check the Patreon and new type links down in the description to help support the channel. As always, I'm your host, Second Soundwave, and I'll see you next time. Take care, guys. Gundam predicted the future is Xeon using ChatGPT to design the DOP. Yep. Alright. Take care, guys.